cosas buenas. Tienes salud, dinero y libertad. La angustia que sientes no sirve para nada. Oye, tienes que cambiar, lucha porque no es tan mal. Risa porque la vida te da. La angustia que sientes no sirve para nada.
Check. Is this thing on? I've done a whole show with the mic off. But today I didn't. I could see the numbers fly in there. I could see everybody here in the chat. God bless each and every one of you for being here. Sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show, baby. I appreciate you all for being amazing and awesome and for jumping on in and kicking it with the lifers. 63,500, 63,500 for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at kind of what's happening here in the business. Shout out to all my beautiful lifers here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Put the link out to the Discord. Let's take a look at what's happening here for BOOKMAP. We have liquidity to the upside. BOOKMAP is a heat map order book showing us where most people have their stop losses and liquidation levels. More importantly, liquidation levels. Hidden numbers, 65.5 right there is where a lot of shorts will be liquidated. We got liquidity on either side. It's a Monday. Monday's where they seek and destroy. They kind of find out what's happening to the markets. So we'll see what happens. I'm red in my trades that I made last night. Remember, we took gains this weekend. I sold that one trade for 1,100. Then I risked it for the biscuit here. And I'm down, 150, 175 right now. We'll see what happens. We've been up and down. I'm in a long-term trade on the bigger time frame. And we're going to kind of show you what I mean by that. And deep dive what's happening around the horn here in these markets. Clarity Act, is it going to get passed? You know, probability went up a little bit on poly market, but it still is not a guarantee. I'm a little bearish on it because if I bet on it happening and it doesn't happen, I don't want to be disappointed. I'd rather think it doesn't happen and then be pleasantly surprised if it does. I'm looking 2030. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, dang, man, why are you projecting negativity? I just, for me, I just feel like it's going to take some time. But maybe they get it figured out. Trump seems to want it. He's been pushing to get it done for innovation. If we wait 4 more years, I mean, that's not going to be a good look for BTC. That weekly trade is up 660, still in it. I've been in it for a long time, showing it you here. I've been showing it on and off throughout the last few weeks for BTC on BTCC. So I see sideways price action. That's all I see. And that's what I talked about yesterday in the update and this morning. I see us kind of just chopping around here. Now, what if we all of a sudden just drop dead? It kind of is a bit of an M. There's some double top action there. We're going to see if there's bearishness. Our last beautiful call, remember here, was a double top. I said to long it anyway, and we nailed it to the upside. Then we got this last pump back up because I've been just long sideways, but nothing too crazy. And I called the bottom on the 4-hour time frame. And really, ever since then, it's been about it. Remember, I called this long here with a stop below here on the bounce, and you're actually still in the money if you took that trade because the stop was below the 200. You can move that to break even. I've taken profits multiple times since then. Then we even called this pump here. Anyway, it's been a fun run. But now this is kind of where we stand sideways for BTC. Let's take a look. We're about almost, we're about 2/3 through the month. 11 more days and we're out of here and on our way into August as life just continues to go. And eventually, sad to say, I'll be gone. My life isn't going to be forever. Even if I figure out a way to regenerate my organs and live to 200 years old, even if I get to 300, at one point, right? Maybe even if I make it last forever, even forever is an end because forever doesn't exist. Nothing is everlasting. Even forever means that there could be an end. My whole point is, even if we get regenerative, we all live forever here on this earth, never die. If you could never die, would you keep it up? Or would you want to find out what happens in the next round? That's such an interesting topic. You know what I mean? The age-old sages like Socrates, right? When they pass, it's almost like they welcomed their death into a new existence. But we'll see. It's too deep for now. I think I get people thinking too much about other things they don't want to talk about. But it's life, man. I realize I'm not here forever. My dad said I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time. That was what he always said. God bless Jimmy Price. I miss you. I love you, Dad. My last few days on the island, I get very, very strangely reminiscent. Kind of go into a bit of a mental cocoon. It's like my attachment to my parents as they're gone. It's like I try not to keep too many keepsakes or hold on to, items that they had. And I was like that for a long time. Anytime I lost anything or something happened, I would hold on. I would get a box of things and I'd have items that I needed to When my dad and mom passed, the pain was so hard, and it brought me to such a deep place in my spirit that it's like I no longer yearn to hold on to physical items. And I knew I would never need a physical item to find myself with my mom and dad in my heart and soul. They were always going to be there. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of let go of all of their old bureaus, like their things that I just let go of all these things. Because it was like my way to say, well, I'm always with them. If I go to the physical, then I feel like I'm fighting the fact that they're always with me spiritually. But if I let go of the physical, then I'm with them always. You know what I mean? And I think I just kind of got to a new place. And then hurting my leg recently got me out of my mental state, out of my physical state, and into my more spiritual state. Because I'm sitting there with my leg. I can't move. I can't go places. Guests came over. They went to beaches. They had super awesome time. I sat alone at the house just with my leg up while people were at the beach having a blast. Everyone was going places, and I was home alone for like 3-4 months straight. I didn't drive my car. I didn't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of strange. First time since, I don't know. When's the last time I couldn't drive my car? I was like 22 years old when I didn't have a car. You know, I don't know. 17, 18. Let's take a look at the monthly chart. Enough about me and my life and my struggles. Let's talk about what's happening here for BTC. But just wanted to kind of break it down for you guys. You know, 2026 has been a tough year. A year of finding kind of how tough you are and what you're made of. So the monthly still looks good to me. I like the retracement to the 618. I like the shoulder, head, right shoulder. I like that the fear and greed hit 5 twice, then hit 8. It's bouncing back now into 29s. It still has some room to come back again if we do get a low, but pretty strong price action if you know, for me. Shoulder, head, still a bit of a head and shoulder price action, but we're fighting it off, very oversold, and there's a bull div that's starting to kind of come into play too as well. Another thing is, if you bring this down, that's a bit of a double bottom. I didn't see anyone really discuss, but that's a double bottom. That's the real previous high there. We had the secondary high, which was the div, but you know, and so we're coming to retest the high of the last cycle, not breaking it. You could say, well, we broke this high. Yeah, I get it. And that is the high of the last cycle. But a lot of people think this was the original high. It's interesting how we're coming to it. 64,160. Bitcoin struggling here. The short's making some money on the small time, on the small time frames. Let's take a look at the 2-week chart. 2-week chart looking interesting to me, but not amazing. It can do whatever it wants. It has 2 weeks now, right? It did close green, though. After all the fight and battle that it had, it did end up closing green. And there's a lot of wickage to the upside here, which tells me that that's your bottom. I mean, when a chart this big has these wicks like that, very likely it's the bottom. You never know, though. And there's no guarantees. None at all. But to me, it looks like it's likely going to be the bottoms. But, you know, we never know for sure. All right. So that's, you know what I mean? So the 2-week chart looks good to me. I'm going to stick to that. That looks okay. And then the weekly chart, bullish divergence, staying above the 200 moving average. All I care about this week, we could do whatever we want. We could chop around, do nothing. And I'm kind of looking for that because the monthly had such, when I saw the monthly pump as much as it did in like the first 5 days of the month, I said, unless we have one of the biggest candles in history, I said, which is unlikely but could happen. I said, we're likely to get a candle about this size. You know what I mean? I just kind of, and this is a rationale I had. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I thought. And I said, so if that's really the size, we're already there on the 5th. I said, we're going to chop around for the entire month. Probably go up, go down, and at least just close this year. And that's a hypothesis. Let's see. So far, it is playing out. Swing down to swing down, swing up to swing up on the RSI. I've said it every day. Even this indicator has it with the green R. It's telling us that that's your bottom for Bitcoin. We haven't gotten this indicator, which is bullish divergence on the weekly, since the bottom right there at 15.5. And I had to search far and wide. I had to look at the Dow Jones, all these different, big time assets, and look at them on the weekly. And I saw on the Dow Jones, on the S&P futures, I only saw this stuff like once every, few years. Once every 4 or 5 years. It was very rare. So I was like, man, if I buy on signals that only happen every 4 to 5 years, I was like, I'm probably destined to do pretty well. I started logically thinking things with a simple mindset and saying, hey, if I just do the right thing at the right time and I don't speculate and I don't go crazy there, you know what I'm saying? And I just kind of do my thing, everything should work out, in my humble opinion. So that's what I do. I buy the lows. I buy when the fear and greed is at a digit, like 7, 8, 9. Anything anywhere below 9 is unbelievable. Like, you get that very rarely. And then I buy when the stochastics RSI are below the 2-week dotted lines. You know, if we're not below the dotted lines or recovering from a dotted line with divergence. You see, and that takes years of expertise. But like right here, we're higher than the last time, but that was your low. But even buying the low is fine. 18K. You can buy the low and never look back. Buy this low here and never look back at 66,000. It's a good chance you're there. And then just the logical nature of any asset in the world being near the 200 moving average on the weekly. Look at the 10-day, how it's bouncing off the 10-day. And the 10-day usually is a pretty good bottom too for BTC. Actually, look at the 10-day on BTC USD all-time history index. And I believe, look at the 10-day. I mean, 18, we went a little bit lower. But, like, if you're buying near the 10-day 200 moving average, you're buying an excellent Bitcoin price. Maybe it dips a little bit, 51, 54. It's just telling us that, you know, and I think the money to make Bitcoin, you know, the amount to make Bitcoin right now is, let me see here. I don't think it costs that much, right? It's like 54,000. We'll ask. But this is like a power law idea, right? How much is the electricity price to make one Bitcoin? And it varies throughout the world. So it is kind of a, you know, the cost to mine one Bitcoin varies, ranging from approximately 1,300 in regions to Iran to over 321 in high-cost areas like Ireland. That's crazy. For most miners, it's derived with a kilowatt per hour. OPTIMUS eyes operations to mine a Bitcoin between 34 and 51,000. See? Isn't that interesting? So, like, they can make a profit right away. Immediately. You know, that's another thing that nobody really discusses when it comes to BTC. Anyway, let's get back to the weekly off that 10-day. But the weekly looks good to me. If you're buying an asset near the 200 moving average on the weekly, you know, over time, that can be one of the greatest things you ever did in your life. And again, you'll see this to be true if you continue to trade the 10 years into crypto that I did, and then the 20 years in all of, you know, if you just kind of develop a trading style across multiple different trading careers. Like I traded the New York Stock Exchange, Toronto Stock Exchange. I traded metals, gold and silver stocks, Great Panther Limited, AMD. I was up in there. Hecla Mining. And then I got to do, you know, Canopy Grow Corp, Aurora Cannabis, you know, a lot of these other Canopy, you know, when I saw that they were going to legalize. And then I went from there. And then I got into crypto and speculated on that. And I was spot on about the Canopy. I was spot on about crypto. I was spot on about gold going up in value over time. Just, you know, I study history. I said anything, if they continue to print the dollar to zero, I should be okay if I invest in scarce assets. All right. Classic cars. They're going to go up in value over time, you know. But that's my opinion. I don't know. Shout out to BitBoy, man. I hope he's doing okay. God bless him out there. A lot of people probably controversial statement. I don't love all his actions, and, you know, you reap what you sow over time, right? But, you know, I hope he's okay, man. That's all. I hope he can get it together and visit his kids one day and be an awesome dad to them. You know, that's all that matters. You know, everyone can do something, can pick up the pieces. And I know, I'll tell you one thing that I know about him, and this is all I'm going to say, is that he loves his kids. He loves his kids. I know that for sure. I know he loves his kids. And so it is what it is. 5-day chart looks good to me too. Bullish divergence on the 5-day chart. You know, bullish divergence on the 3-day chart. Some say no, but it's shoulder, head. It does look like a complex head and shoulder. That could dump us to the downside. But what that does too, it builds so much short. A lot of shorts are right here waiting to get just absolutely slammed. When we look at the daily, and the daily time frame looks interesting to me, and this is what I've been saying now, is we're inside of this tight flag, which to me is an ascending triangle, and we're getting tighter and tighter in this zone. We could break up to the 200 moving average and then further up to, I don't know, 74.9. This is kind of what I'm seeing. And we got resistance at 66,973 as well. Okay. Good morning, Sam. Sam, you make me so calm. God bless you. I hope everything's going well. Carolina P. Or is it Carolina? Yeah, Carolina. Carolina Pay. Or Carolina Ape? I don't know how it goes, but I think I said it right. 12-hour 22, looking good to me. I like the tight moving averages. We get a nice move back up here to the 200 moving average. All right. Very tight. Price action is actually, getting almost suction cup tight there. To the upside. I like when the moving averages bunch up. When it gets nice and bunchy, there could be a nice move further to the upside. Remember that. Point of control stepping into place. And so it's telling me that there could be a move. I don't like the stochastics RSI. They're suggesting a move down. We're going to have to kind of hold off the bears here and go sideways. That's why sideways to me looks the most likely. Even the 8-hour doing an indecision doji here, kind of fighting off the bulls and the bears on this insane Monday morning. Look at that doji. And then the 4-hour time frame just kind of battling sideways price action as we kind of suggested would be happening from last night. I said, look for this to... I wouldn't be surprised if we go sideways, you know what I mean? We go sideways for a couple days. Not a lot of news to swing the market, nothing crazy until unemployment. That comes out on, I believe, Thursday, right? Unemployment claims on Thursday. Everything else is clean. Monday, nothing for U.S. Yes, Canada, if you're trading Forex. Tuesday, nothing. British pound unemployment rate, but not for us. Japanese yen trade balance and all that. But nothing like ADP weekly employment change. Fine. That ADP at 815, but it's not a red folder, not a big deal. And then here's the Australia. Nothing on Wednesday. And then just Thursday for us is unemployment claims. And it's one of the easiest weeks we've had in a while. When it comes to data. And then Friday's easy. So it's been a beautiful July, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of the stream in the summer. It's not easy, but we do it, right? 1 hour and 2 hour for Bitcoin looks kind of bearish, no? We're going to get there. We haven't got there yet. Let's zoom on in. So there we are with the 4-hour time frame, and it curved down with bear div. And all we need to see is the stochastics reset while we hold a higher low. Look, 1, 2, 3 higher lows in a row above the 200 moving average. I'm just showing, we're reading the narrative. 2-hour time frame. Someone said looks bearish. I just, you know what I mean? To me, I see it like this. I see it inside of a tighter channel. Let me delete this because it can look, the spaghetti can get crazy. But, if I make it tight, I see a trend line here, a trend line there. And this is just, the 2-hour to me could be breaking out in about 8 hours, 10 hours. Boom. Or sideways. Either one is good for me. Yeah, I see. He says 1 hour and 2 hour look kind of bearish. As long as we're above the 200 moving average, look, I see a shoulder, head, right shoulder, possible breakout. I'm going to stay long for Bitcoin here without a doubt in my mind. And I said that this weekend. I nailed it. I nailed almost every trade I gave you guys in the last few days, if you jumped on in. And I gave a lot of them just on the live, doing my thing. The S&P trade is still underwater, though. So that's kind of not the best. But Bitcoin's back at 64.4. And these are just bigger trades that are just sitting. I'm only down $130. I'm not stressed. S&P's down 250, but that was down like 600 at one point. So we'll see where it goes. We'll take a look at that in a second, too, as we start off the week for the S&P and the NASDAQ. Looking great, Sam. Shout out to my man, Sunhome Riviera Maya. God bless you, man. Thank you. Following live for 3BitBoy back in 2022. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you guys. I'm still long. Love y'all. 74,941 for BTC. All right. And yeah, I'm just, today's not a day for precision trading. I just use the bigger time frames and let everyone else kind of clear the air. Monday, everyone gets, people that got emotional, got crazy, they get back into the market. It's almost like the people that didn't win come back in and do more crazy stuff, even though they said they're not gonna. 5 minutes still says to me they could get a pump. We looked at it this morning. I was saying there might be a pump here. I wasn't trading it. I wasn't like, let's go in right now, you know. See how the 5 kind of like, it's floating an idea back to the top of the channel. Nothing crazy. Just, I wouldn't trade the small time frame. And you see me, I love those 1 minute and that 15, 5 and all that. But, you know, I'm going to stay away from the small time frames for a bit of a time here. And I like to trade Monday night. And I'm already in trades too. I may add to them. So that's kind of your top 10 analysis. I would be watching your 1 hour and your 4 hour. I see sideways price action here for Bitcoin. Some say, well, isn't this an Adam and Eve? Aren't we going to dump? And rounded tops don't pay the bills. And you know what? Maybe we will. If we lose the 200 moving average on the 400, on the 4 hour time frame, on the 4 hour, I mean, that's bearish. And this point of control, then I'll probably be shorting a 5 minute flag or something like that. Right? So I love your streams and every single day with you for 300 plus days. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sam is Mr. Big Deal. Thank you. Hey, man, God has made me whoever I am and put me in position the way he has. Thank you, dear Lord, for everything in which you've given me. May God bless you and your family and everyone here on the stream. I appreciate you all for being here. And with God's beautiful grace, he has provided such a wonderful life for me. Every day I say thank you, like 100 to 500 times a day. I'm like, thank you, dear Lord. Thank you, dear Lord. I meditate on gratitude. I make sure gratitude is a big part of my life. I used to think about 1,000 things. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to come up with this, read this. And now I realize, like, I got to spend at least an hour clearing my mind and saying, thank you, dear Lord. For the birds, for the bees, for my kids. This morning I danced with my children, and they're so beautiful. I'm so special, man. They're so special. I mean, you know what I mean? It's, hey, now you're so special. We're all special. But blessings to be alive. Don't ever lose track. You know, I used to lose track of life by letting life make me so upset. Wasn't where I was supposed to be. Was always comparing. Wishing I was someone else, doing something different. You know what I mean? Not wishing I was someone else, really. I love, you know, but, you know, just not happy in my own skin. Not happy with my accomplishments. My friends became super, super wealthy, like, way before I even knew what, you know what I mean, how to get a buck. Like, they were making serious bounce. And I think, I was like, dang. What did I do wrong? Like, you know, how come I didn't sell my company for hundreds of mil? Like, so like, you know, and now I'm just, now I'm just super grateful. Super grateful that I found myself where I plan to be. All right. Years ago, I had no idea where would my first home ever be. Where would I buy my first home? I had no clue, no thoughts. I kept looking at so many places and I was like, but how would I, you know what I mean? How could I even make up my mind? Looking for this 30 minute to break out. Remember, your life goes so fast. I used to say this on the stream. Life is going to go by so fast. I'm telling you. I remember the time when I wished I was going to become a multimillionaire and I was like playing with the coins and I was like, what's going to happen to me? And again, there's we're here and I know we're going here. You know, I didn't hit my 100 mil yet. I'm on my way to $1 billion. We have so much more to accomplish in this life. But man, you know, the fact that I went from here, I was in debt. I was below financially negative. I was in the negative. And the fact that I turned it all the way into a positive, it changed my life. Like, it just, I'm so inspired for everyone out there because it can happen to me and it can happen to you. And I wasn't much different than the average guy, man. So if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. And I did all the things that people did. I beat myself up. I sat in a room and thought about nothing for hours. I wished I could come up with ideas and couldn't come up with them. I hated on myself. I thought I wasn't smart. I talked negative thoughts. I spent hours alone. Like, I isolated myself from friends and family. If you're doing any of these things, I believe it really is the devil isolating you because eventually it brings you to where I don't want to say. You know, but isolation just continues until it's over. You know what I mean? It's bad. Bad news. And whenever I was around people, I was like, man, I feel good. I was like, I need to hang out with more people. And I was a people person, so unbelievable. The man with the golden hand. God bless you, brother. Thank you for being here. God bless you for jumping on in. Yeah, so a lot of days I give you guys live trades, and a lot of days I might say, hey. And Monday's usually the day. And I'm into live trades, don't get me wrong. As long as I want to see this 1 hour hold the 200 moving average. And, we may go on a massive pump here out of nowhere. I wouldn't put it past this type of market to go on a tear at any moment. But I see more sideways price action, but I'm leaning long. And I'm long, and I'm showing you my longs. I got these two longs open right now. And then I got this long open right here on BTCC. And that's on BTCC and on WEEX. All right. Links in the description if you want to jump on in. Also in the pinned comment. We have a pinned comment right there. You can just jump on in, hit WEEX, or go to CryptoLifer.com. Join my Discord. I'm there 7 days a week. I was there all weekend, having a blast. I'm there all summer long. In July, I'm in more like, observe, it's just a little lighter, but for the most part, we don't take days off, man. I don't stop. I do not stop. And I'll be back home in about 11 days, which is kind of crazy to me. I got this weird anxiety, because I miss being here, because this is my true home. I have this new home that I just started going to. I've lived in Florida now 2 years when April came. It's been 2 years. I moved there April 28th. I'll never forget the day, I believe, April 28th. I could get the exact date wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was April 28th. It was the day I hit the land, the Florida land, I rented a house up until July, and then I saw a similar home in my same neighborhood. I did break my rental lease, which they were very nice about because I was moving to the neighborhood and they wanted to be neighborly. And then I bought a home in the same neighborhood. And I bought the home in September. So this September, I'll have lived in the house that I bought for 2 years, which I find insane. And I leave my house for about 2 months every year. A little over 2 months. 2 months and 2 weeks last year. This will be 2 months and a week or something. And I come back home to where I live and where I'm from in Massachusetts, you see? That's the story. And so I'll be going back to Florida, which is my new home. So as I leave this place, and then my mom and dad died 3 years ago, and they used to live here on the island. So you know what I mean? There's just this, you can see how I'm going through a lot as a person, just nostalgia, a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions, a lot of deep dives in my brain. It makes sense. Like if I was an author and you were reading the story, you'd be like, wow, this guy he's going through a lot in his mind here, And when I make it back home, and then I do the show, and I don't stop the show. During all this, I don't stop the show. So while I go through all these ups and downs and go through all these differences in life, the show never ends, which I find absolutely fascinating, But hey, and I think it's because of each and every one of you that are awesome and amazing. So thank you. I'd have nowhere to be without each and every one of you. I don't know what I would have done with my life. And I don't know where I would have gone. So thank you for saving me. I appreciate it. I hope we can continue to help you get paid with the education that I teach you every day. So we're looking for this bounce back to the upside, bit of a cup and handle, higher low. And we're just looking for sideways price action. A little oversold there. Get a little bit of a bounce. So I'm trying to show you short-term price action. But I'm telling you that I'm playing the bigger price action. Let's take a look at a bearish idea here. Let's kind of go against what we're saying, and let's be bears. Let's be complete bears. Let's flip the chart upside down and look for ways that we can continue to pump. This might be a beautiful rising wedge that continues to go higher. We get a bounce here. We go sideways, Now, if that happens, we could dump right shoulder, head, right shoulder down to 22K. I mean, that would be the measured move. Wick to wick here, or you'd even say this could be the measured move there. So I'm just building the bearish scenario here in my mind in case things don't go as planned. I don't know why I'm on this 10-day. I'm usually not on the 10-day chart. But, something like this. Could still make a right shoulder and take a bit of a dump here down. Maybe even test 53,000. Maybe 47. I'm not open-minded. I'm open-minded that anything is humanly possible in trading. I used to block myself from things that say, no, I got this. It's going one way for sure. And I'll tell you what, man, that's a tough way to trade. Because you got to be right all the time. And nobody's right all the time. So that means you're going to be beating yourself up about, about half or a little more than half the time. The idea is to play probabilities and shrug off the losses as if they are just pieces of paper, man. They're just numbers in the audit book. You know what I mean? They don't mean much. Just like in that way. And the sad part about that is a win can't be that big either. Unless it's a nice big win. My thing is $3,000 to $5,000 a day. I make $3,000 a day trading, $5,000. I'm lighting up the cigars. I'm turning on the little flames on my pool thing. And I'm going to smoke that cigar. You know? Funny, I don't smoke cigars in the summertime. I just don't. I don't go get them. I don't know why. I spend so much time with my kids. I don't really want to be smoking cigars near them. You know? And then at 8:39 at night, I'd have to sit there and smoke. I got to do my update. I don't know. Something about being here that's different than being in Florida. So this is your bearish scenario, and this is possible. What would nullify this for me is that we really close a 5-day candle above this 65.8 level. You see? You get above there, boom. And that's why this daily, what's happening right now on this daily and this tightness and this whole kind of section here is just, it's like, wow, you know, we're battling. And Bitcoin's in some chop right now. But I believe I see something in here that tells me that there's more likelihood of a move to the upside than to the downside. And I even look at this as kind of an inverted head and shoulder here. It's not perfect, has this level here, but it, you know, I like what I'm seeing. So Michael Saylor opposes BIP 110 over censorship concerns. Right? Against BIP 110 proposal warning that the plan and soft fork could introduce censorship risk in the network on whether Bitcoin should restrict certain forms of non-monetary data storage, including activity linked to ordinals and similar uses. You know, funny. I mean, I want to keep it open source. At the same time, like, when do you end what people do to it? If ordinals are already there, I think they should be able to stay free, you know? At the same time, I get it. Like, Bitcoin wasn't set up to make to make NFTs on. I don't know. And people will do what they want to do. I think the overall use case will never be that. I think it'll be overrun by institutional demand and you know, digital gold supply. But that's, you know, that's also me speculating. Maybe I'm wrong. I believe I'm right on it, but we'll see. Orchid, OXT, which, you know, this coin pumps pretty good on Coinbase. It's like a Coinbase. You know, I remember when I got it on Coinbase and it did like a, I don't know, an 8 or 9x or something. I'd put this on my radar. There's a chance this thing continues to pump throughout the night or into the day too, possibly. Funny, Grok continues to rip, that little meme. And there was a flag there, 21 above the 200, and it did hit the target. That's crazy. Optimus usually kind of moves with Grok because it's, you know what I mean? It's, you know, they go hand in hand, right? It's got that like kind of falling wedge above that 200. This coin, I don't know what it is, but it looks like it's about to just absolutely go on a rip. 1, 2, 3 times a charm. I'm not saying, oh, you know, I don't know what it is. I wasn't paid to talk about it. I don't do that type of stuff. And I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I'm saying you should be taking. Platone. Just look at that. I mean, higher lows in a row, getting very tight. Looks interesting. That's all. I just, you know, I peruse the charts and I look for things that that tickle my fancy and look interesting. And that, my friends, looks somewhat interesting. So I want to build a bullish and a bearish picture for Bitcoin. You can also say, well, that's bear div, and isn't that shoulder, head, right shoulder? And that's about to collapse to the downside. Come somewhere down here through the gap, right? And that would be upside down, back up to 90K. 96,000. So, hey, you know, there's a big inverted head and shoulder there. I haven't even seen that till right now. I think that's the first time I saw that. That's why I love doing this, like playing with it differently and looking at it all different ways. Because you'll just see it in a different light sometimes before, in a way you haven't seen it. Challenge your thought process. Don't, you know, drink your own Kool-Aid constantly. That does nothing for you. You know, always challenge your own thought process. Say, is this, what if it's not going to go the way I want? Can I handle the stop losses getting hit? Are my levels legit? Am I going to get hunted and pissed, or is this going to go my way? Like, can I handle getting stopped out? Do I have a plan to get back in if I really think the overall direction is still long, but I don't get my move perfectly? I've thought this stuff out. I've been through it all. Not all, but a lot of it. And I've played these mental games. This channel is about going through those mental thought processes. More than just the trading of the nature of trading. It's about the thinking. It's about being inside my brain. I'm inside yours. In a way, together, we think this stuff through. Look how nice this looks on the weekly. I mean, on the 1 hour. Like, that looks good. Looks like a beautiful flag that's going to pump. I like it. Like, that looks nice to me. 68,744. Send it, baby. Send it. Pay the trader. Pay the trader. Give me some monkeys. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. 64,482 for BTC. And shout out to everybody here on this beautiful Monday. I like to start off Monday with the vest and the tie. By the end of the week, we got one button open. We're flashing. You know what I mean? It's completely different by Thursday. But that's kind of how trading works. You start off, ready to go. And if you have a good week, it depends. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody here. I never wore this tie before. Found it unopened. Kenneth Cole reaction. Decided it was time when I saw that I was going to wear the beige vest. Last night I picked up the vest, put a different tie out there, and then this morning at the last minute decided I start doing this tie with like 4 minutes. It's like, that's how I am, man. I plan things out and I still always even throw myself a curveball. Which I guess you got to keep things interesting even for yourself. I don't want to be boring to myself. You know what I mean? If I do the same thing every time, I was like, Sam, I thought you were going to do that. Then you did this. Wow. You're an interesting guy. I can hang out with you. Go to CryptoLifer.com, hit the subscribe button if you want to hang out with me too. All right, $99 a month, $270 for the quarter, or $999 for the year. A lot of people love that year. They're in there, and they stay dedicated. Pays for the year. It's kind of like, and a college course, one college course, I remember at St. John's, I believe it was like $2,500 for one course that lasted like one semester. It was like 4 months. You know what I mean? And I believe you can learn so much with me for less than $1,000 a year and get an education in the charts. You'll have something that you'll be able to use for the rest of your life on the long time frame, short time frame. Just hang out with me for even a couple months, and some of my knowledge should be able to rub off on you, help you out in some way, shape, or form, give you that education that you've been missing. Maybe even give you a way to handle your own emotions and give you a way to talk positively to yourself. Build yourself up. Learn how to use gratitude, staying in the present moment, rebuild your subconscious mind. We do a lot for a lot of people here in the Discord and just here on the live stream every day. We help people, man. I help people become their better self, and they help other people become their better self. We're regenerative. The lifers, the whole entire form of this logo and team, everything we do is to regenerate others. I used to be down and out in a degenerative state. Degenerative. I was feeling negative. I was stuck. I talked about it earlier. I got myself out and regenerated myself into a new person. Changed my location, changed my projection, changed everything. Moved to Florida. Went to the sun. I live in the sunny sun. And then I still don't understand that. I'm like, wait, when the summer ends, it gets cold. And we get our jackets, and because you've been doing that for 41 years, for 41 years, it got cold for me. And now come like October, November, like it's super nice out. December, I could still be at the beach. Last February, I was sitting at the beach. It was like the worst cold front ever. I remember we went to the beach one day and we were like laughing. We were like, dang, man. Oh, the whole U.S. is like literally underwater. And a week later, once, you know what I mean? March is a beautiful month in Florida. It's like the waters are kind of cool down for someone from me, because the Floridians, they don't like cold water at all. They can't handle it. But it never even gets as cold as it gets like here. Like when I got here in May, I started jumping in the water, and the water was like freezing cold. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, you do your thing. So that Florida water in March, it's cooler. So for a New Englander like me, the air is nice, there's a breeze, and the water's cooler, and it's just like, wow. March is, for me, one of the nicest months in Sarasota. Right? I look forward to all these times. It's going to be a beautiful night. In the next 9 months are going to be gorgeous. 6 of them, it's going to be 78 degrees, low humidity, and just beautiful. August, September, and into October are going to be brutal. They're going to be really hot for me and very, very, but they're going to disappear faster than I realize. And before I know it, we'll be back in, I'm going to miss this place, guys. I'm getting sentimental on you guys, and I know it. And I'm sorry. I wish I could stick only to the charts, but I bring a little bit of my life in here. 5-day chart looks interesting. We got some bull div here, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, nothing's changed. We're watching this cup and handle on the 15-minute, 7-minute, 5-minute chart here. 1 minute is kind of looking like an inverted head and shoulder there. Look at that. Seeing is believing, baby. Seeing is believing. Let's take a look at the S&P futures and see what's happening around the horn. Let me jump on into the chat and see what you beautiful, beautiful people are saying here. So remember, I've been bullish on the S&P. I've been saying it's going to continue to go to the upside. And I think a lot of people have been like, I think he's crazy. We had that dip last week and it looked sketch, but I stayed long. My entry is a little bit underwater right now, but I'm looking for this to kind of gap up, pump, stay in the green, and then go sideways for about, I don't know, a couple weeks here. Looks like we got a kind of sideways price action for this end of July is what I'm seeing for the S&P. Let's take a look at the nasty NASDAQ, and I'm long on the S&P. I'm in that trade right now. NASDAQ also needs a bit of a bounce here. It's a little more bare. It doesn't look as good as the S&P. S&P is a little more leveled out. But I see the NASDAQ bouncing back up, making that right shoulder, taking its time, and then just kind of hanging out inside of a bigger channel. I believe it's a good place to long the NASDAQ with a stop below this 200, that wick there. I believe that's the 80 moving average on the daily. So use the 80 as protection. We got a bounce there. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an inverted head and shoulder back to this, at least there, and then we get rejected, up and down. But that's the NASDAQ right now. Okay. And then there's a couple altcoins were hot, nothing too crazy. We'll take a look at the bubbles. Virtuals. I've always liked virtuals. Has a real use case. And pump. Let's take a look at pump and virtuals. Pump.fun. Real use case, right? Whether it's meme or not, whatever you want to say about it, it works, right? We talked about it here when it got hot. I said, look for it to consolidate. You flag it out. You don't know exactly how the flag's going to look. That's why you just kind of draw two lines. Now you can delete this, put this over here, maybe flip to the 15. Even the 1. That's a bull flag on pump on the 1 hour. Low stochastics touching the 21. And with a bunch of launches out right now that are going well, interesting, right? That could do damage. So pump looks like it's in a sideways W. Do you see the W, or is it just me? But a bit of a sideways W there for pump. That could be a nice mover. Looking for possible 20% gains at a pump. All right, that looks interesting to me, for sure. And let's take a look at virtual. You want to say virtuals, but it is virtuals, but it's virtual, So the last time we looked at it, I was looking for this kind of tight price action. You can see you could kind of readjust it, keep this going. You can see it's been choppy. The altcoins haven't been amazing. But if you stick to the moving averages and you get a general sense of consolidation, you can navigate these waters somewhat, Throw a support and resistance in there, use that 200. Look how we use the 200 yet again. Again, if you just come to this channel and you just take this in for, just keep taking the information in. You may not trade today, you may not trade tomorrow, or maybe 5 months before you make your first trade. It may be a year. You may leave, do something, come back 2 years from now. And this data may regurgitate back into your brain and you're back, man, so happy I watched the lifer when I did and I put in that work, because it's all going to come into play. Just keep educating yourself, keep talking positive to yourself, keep building yourself up. Keep telling yourself you're amazing and you're awesome and that you're going to do something great for the world, because you are. You're not a waste of space. You're not a depressed person. And depression doesn't exist. You just got to get moving. For anyone out there that is having you're using the word I'm depressed. You're saying that you can't get out of your, you just got to start working out. I'm telling you. And I got workouts for you if you need them. But you just got to start working out right in your home. in a 10 by 10 foot space. I do it in like a 3 by 3 foot, 4 by 4 foot. I mean, I'm not that tall. But you do, I mean, I guess I need like an 8 by 8 foot. But like, man, I can get my workout done in about a 6.5 foot by 6.5 foot space. Seriously. I like virtuals. It may continue to pump from here too, all the way up. Like in a way, you could say that it broke out of a cup and handle there. And it's on its way. If it comes back down and goes sideways, that's, telling me that it's going to consolidate again for another big move. But it could continue to pump. I like it. I'm going to put an alert on it in case I get a better price action by being patient. It's not about chasing everything. It's about setting a bunch of traps and hitting the best traps. It's like if you were a trapper or a hunter and you went out trapping and you found out after trapping that a certain animal, maybe you got trapped in the traps better. Or let's just say one was harder to set the trap. You had to go further, but you made more, you got more from it. So you have, do I get like the less action near me, or do I go and put the trap further that's harder with the higher probability? And like you would start judging the risk worth the return. It's kind of what happens in trading. You start understanding, well, if this happens, then I do that. If that happens, then I do this. And you know what I mean? Like you're just, and then once you know those probabilities, you only take the best if you can. So you set up a bunch of traps for all the best probabilities, and you only take the ones that make the most sense. You don't force it. I think that's the key. That most people don't realize. Like a lot of people are forcing trades constantly with the wrong risk too. You can make a lot of trades if you have proper risk on every trade. But you got to stick to the risk that you're doing. And you got to handle that risk. You know what I mean? Very important. Very important. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people miss that. It's extremely important that you stick to those parameters. 64,330 for BTC. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Oh yeah, this song, man, it gets stuck in my head. I let it play, but I'm always like, Funny, it's like we play it enough though. So virtual is looking interesting to me. Let me jump on into the chat and see what the chat is saying. Beat is trying to move trap to lower the bulls in. Yeah, morning livettes. Hey Sam, just wondering, can you back test when bullish divergence gets divide? When divergence doesn't play out? Yeah, you can. I mean, go back and back test it. You'll see it. You got to believe in it long term. Really, I've used it to the point where it's worked for me. If it hasn't worked for you, then it's going to take, that's why divergence is something you got to live through. I always talk about that when it comes to divergence. I used to find it, look at it, but I'd never buy it. I'm like, oh, it's bull div. And then they would pump. Bull div, then it would pump. One day I was like, all right, I got to buy the bull div. Otherwise, it's not real. Like, it's just something I observed, but I never moved. Then I moved on bull div and I got paid. One time I moved on bull div and made a different one. I had to tweak it. And I learned my lessons. But, over time, I was buying the bottoms. And if I had a long-term plan with a good DCA, it played out really well. Bullish divergence on the big time frames are for DCAs because there's no stop loss there. If you're wrong, you just buy more on the lows. And you have a 5-year plan. Having a long-term plan for trading and investing is really the best way to make money. And I know no one wants to hear that. Everyone wants to make money tomorrow. But if today you say, you know what, it's 2026. By 2031, I'm going to hit my first mil. I'm going to long-term invest into Bitcoin. I'm going to look for other opportunities. I'm going to speculate. Like if there's something big in the AI, I'm going to look for, for me, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do the rule of threes. I think 3 has always come to me. My dad always said it's in threes, 33, So everything I do is threes. If you were to hand me $1 million, I'd put 300 grand in like the safest asset in the world. You know what I mean? Something that just makes me, let's say 4 to 5% a year. Might make me, nothing. Like that's 15 grand a year, but just sits there, doesn't lose money. The other 30, I might want to put in like a real estate deal. I might want to use it as like collateral, If it's a mill, that's 300 grand on $1 million property. That may be cash flows, right? And then the other 300, I may want to put in the stock market. And I might want to put like 100 grand in something safer, like the S&P. And then maybe, maybe the last 200 grand, I might divvy up into, in the last 200 grand. And then the last 100 grand, I might put into high speculative like uranium plays or something like that may or may not play out. And then you have this like diversified way to trade and to invest, and where some things, so that way you're covered if the little things hit big, and they'll pay you pretty well. You put enough money in them, and then you're also not losing all your money that you have because you're having, you're getting the cash out, The key to doing that is not being greedy, I found. The greedier you are, the more you're going to put everything in and may not get everything out, right? It's very important to stick to the plan no matter what. That's not easy to do. A lot of people want fast money, and some of them make the fast money. But you know what? They never, even when they make fast money, they still never had a long-term plan. They go in and out of fast money for years, but they never stash a long-term plan, right? So, and I think about that a lot too, because I remember when I was stuck in the rat race, I was always looking for, the fast move out. But I got lucky with the I fell into long-term planning, and Bitcoin worked out for me at the right time. Like things kind of, you know what I mean? There was no guarantees though. Remember, investing is not for everybody because it's not like a paycheck that's going to be waiting for you. Bitcoin sitting at 64.4. We're only down $70. I like what's happening here. And I'm still strong on this long. I like that we just closed the 1 hour candle with a big wick there off of the 200 moving average. But it still does suggest we may just be in some chop here. Back up to 64.9. Regardless of whatever happens, because irregardless is not a word, remember that. But regardless of what happens here, we're long Bitcoin, right? Look, I'm about to say, I was wanting to make sure. I was like, I got one trigger there. I got two triggers there. Yeah. And we want to get to 68,750 for a fat little payday. BOOKMAP suggesting that we get a move to the upside. I like BOOKMAP. I'm going to talk about it for a second. What is BOOKMAP? It's a cutting-edge trading platform that lets you visualize market liquidity and gain incredible insight into the order book. Trade with confidence as you watch the market evolve in real time at 40 frames per second. Identify market trends, discover hidden price patterns, and understand order flow like never before. All right, check what the candlesticks are hiding. You see candlesticks, we see liquidity using BOOKMAP. Link in the description if you want to jump on in. I do get a commission for that. Nice pump for Bitcoin. 64,588. Look, that inverted head and shoulder, kind of like this double bottom here. And pumping to what? The 200 moving average on the 1 minute time frame. If you're scalping, that's a great place to snipe. The 30 second may have gotten above the 200. Look, I bet the 5 second did the model. It did. It made a flag. It hit the 21 above the 200, and it pumped. Hit the 21 again there and got another pump. It's amazing how you can use the model in the small, big, and littlest time frames. And the macro is the micro. The micro is the macro. You shrink in, you zoom out. It's all the same. It's a whole entire world that's showing you what's going on. And you could do this in anything. You could do this in the Japanese yen, USD. Like if you're a Forex guy, whatever you're doing. Let's take a look here. Yeah, see, the last time I put out the Japanese yen, I said, this thing looks like it's going to dump. Looks like it's headed down there. And that was somewhere around here. We're looking maybe a possible bounce and rejection. Came up a little bit lower, higher. But that does look bearish to me. It looks like the Japanese yen is going to lose more against the dollar. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. Yeah. I opened up a 5,000. Oh, that's crazy. Shout out to Tall Man Todd. That's crazy. I don't know what that means. I didn't even know you can do that. 64,580 for BTC. And we're coming up strong here on this long, up 869 on BTCC. See where this puppy goes. We're going for 50 grand if we can get back up to those beautiful highs. Virtual's looking interesting. Can it come back down to reality, or does it continue to rip? If it comes back down and goes sideways, it's a nice little Biolino. Definitely something on the radar for me. If continue to go, Cerebro actually looks pretty interesting. It's tight. If we talked about it, at about, 460, someone I know talked about it at a 40 market cap. But to me, If I ever gave you something at 40,000 market cap and then it went to 400K and I said we 10x'd, come on, man. Think about it. Like, how much money could we have bought in it? You know what I mean? It's like, but you know, it still is what it is. I'm not taking it away, but it's just a funny, I always found that like an interesting way to look at it. But wow, it's kind of starting back up. Could it pump? I don't own any of this. I'm just watching these Robinhood memes, speculating on what's happening. And even if I don't buy, I like to know. I like to be in the know. I like to watch. And that, you know, you might make a little right shoulder. See how this shoulder, head, right shoulder? You might make a little right shoulder there and pump. I like to use these no indicators at all, but you'd be surprised. That's probably the 21, the 200. It all comes into play. This dude just sold 8,000 IF for $9. He's an F whale, man. So you can see how this stuff all kind of comes into play no matter what you're looking at. 64,600 for BTC. And let's take a look at the real small time frames yet again, just in case. Like the 3-minute. Wow, we bounced off the 200 moving average there. Last night was crazy, man. I woke up at like 4:30, 5 in the morning in a completely covered in sweat. I think we got hit with like some humidity or something. I don't know. Today's humidity, like, is the humidity high today? Because out of nowhere, man, it was like a cool night. Next thing you know, I was like sweating profusely. Put on the AC, and because I was wet then, you know what I mean? Then I was like cuddling. And then I was like in a ball. And then I was in a ball from like 5:30 to like 7:30. I woke up like remembering that I was in a ball. I was like, what happened? So look, there's the cup and handle bouncing off the 200 moving average. There's the tight price action. 64,630, a bit of a squeeze for the shorts there. And look, we got the liquidity above us, man. It's telling us we're going higher. It's saying, hey, we want to get into that big red. Big red is where all the liquidation is, 65.5. Be a nice pump up there for Bitcoin. Throw me back into the green. And one of my trades did flip green now. You could say, remember, this was down 170 together. And I've been, you know, I'll hold my trades till they, you know, till I see something in the charts that doesn't sit right with me, that nullifies my original idea, or I get stopped out, or I hit my trades, or I get a massive pump out of nowhere that seems unrealistic, and I take profits. And that's kind of that's how I do it. All right. Monsoon season, what if on Robinhood? Yes, exactly. In due time, I'm going to just the new AI evidence building. Interesting. That sounds cool, man. Good morning, lifers. Good morning, Sammy. Hit the like button. God bless AZ Welding Hub. Thank you so much. Can't wait to get back home. I haven't mounted that yet. I don't know exactly where to put it in the house. That was like the next plan. Wow, nice pump for BTC, folks. Let's go. 64,750 for Bitcoin. Getting busy. Off the 200 moving average and the 21. And that is my model right there. The 21 on the 200. You get in there, stop loss below, and boom. Nice little $300, $400 pump for BTC. And again, we got the levels too waiting for us, which looks very, very nice. Like those levels look liquidy tight. So send it further up, get it rejected at 65, 64.9, go sideways, and then we get the bigger pump later on. That's what I'm looking at here on like the 3-minute. Boom, you know. I like what I'm seeing here for BTC. So far, so good for Bitcoin on the smaller time frames. Let's take a look at our friend Ethereum as it was beating up against Bitcoin and doing pretty good. I want to see what we're doing here, but I'm bullish on ETH. And I wouldn't be surprised if ETH actually pumps with Bitcoin today into tomorrow. And ETH looks like it could make a nice move here on the 1-hour time frame. That's consolidation with the 21 above the 200. It is somewhat of a, you know, a symmetrical triangle. It could go either way, but I like what I'm seeing. Very interesting. Could get all the way to what, at $2,096. Again, be careful. I could see them possibly stop, hunt, wick it down, maybe double bottom it before the pump. Lately, there's been treachery. But ETH looks interesting to me. And I wouldn't be surprised if it starts to pump right now. I'd put this on the radar for the trading group. If you're out there watching this, or you can't see this because you're at work and, you might have a boss on you right now. You might be able to go in the bathroom and just see an update, though. So we'll send this to you guys. What if this was a good super chat? You're funny. What if this is you're funny? We already did look at what if, but we'll look at it again in case you missed it because you didn't super. We looked at it here. Looks like it may continue up to 0.0029, almost 3 cents. So we're looking for it to go to 3 cents here and continue its move up. Yeah. Had some of those monsoon rains come through. Oh, yeah, we had a monsoon rain yesterday. It felt like it was insane how much rain we got in an hour, like 1.5 inches in an hour or something. And it came right after, and then we, I watched the World Cup in the backyard with my family yesterday. It was an amazing time. Then we had some steaks. And then I did my live stream. And then everyone went to sleep. When I ended my live, the house was quiet. I gazed at the stars alone, thought about my life, and meditated on life and said, thank you, dear Lord, for everything you've given me. Thank you for this wonderful summer. And just, got to get out of my head and be super positive all the time. I used to be in my head too much, man, about what was this, what was that. Got to constantly stay positive. Fight those negative thoughts, fight those neurotic thoughts. And just say, what do I have? Let me build on what I do have. Let me be grateful for what I do have. Let me focus on what I have every single time. And go from there. Because there's a silver lining in everything. And there's something good that's going to come of everything, man, no matter how negative you think it is. You got to stay positive. If you do that, then somehow, some way, there will be a positive thing that you find. All right. Still pumping there on what if. So ETH looks interesting to me. I'm going to do a deep dive on ETH too. Just because I like to recently. Funny, and I haven't really paid much attention to Ethereum in a long time. And you can see why. It's been no real, it's been choppy. It's had a couple little runs, but for the most part, it's been in some chop. I'd like to see it bounce back to its highs here. Bitwise grabbing it up, the scarcity. And also the fact that they're going to run in some type of privacy with it. And I believe it will become a core institutional layer over time. And my instincts are telling me now it's starting to, even though it was for a long time. And remember, I bought ETH at $9, or knew about ETH at 9, bought it at 89. So I've known about ETH for a long time. Can almost say, here's the cup and handle. It left the cup, got back inside, you know what I mean? And now it's ready. Almost a backwards Adam and Eve that retested the lows for whatever reason. But man, that looks good to me on the weekly. Now, it does depend on if Bitcoin takes a beat down and we don't get above certain highs and, we end up getting rejections. You'll see Ethereum take a beat down. Like, it's going to go wherever Bitcoin goes. But look, there's the bull div there too as well. And you can double click the RSI whenever you want to see another indicator. It's slightly down. I thought it would be, but wow, it's funny. I thought that would definitely, it looks like an uptrend there, right? It's another reason why to double click in the RSI. Yeah, slightly downtrend. That's a downtrend. I feel like it might be there on the 3-day though. Yeah, there it is on the 3-day, pretty strong. 3-day bullish div is strong. That's a swing up. That's swinging down. And again, you're going to be left with the exact same thing here. Bitcoin's on the 4-hour looking tight. You kind of have this bigger picture, right? You broke out, broke back inside. And I see the same trade here for ETH. If Bitcoin makes the move, Ethereum makes the move. And again, it's all about trusting the moving averages. I put so much faith in the 200 and most of the world does not. Thank gosh. Because if they did, they'd all be on the same side of it as me, Can you explain how to read liquidity heat maps? A lot of liquidity at 50K. Does this mean Bitcoin wants to reach 50K at the bottom of the cycle before it goes higher, or can it just leave the liquidity? Anything can happen at any given moment in time. So that's the first thing you have to say, that anything is possible. So when you say something has to happen, that's originally right there. Throw that out of your mind, because that's not true. Anything is possible, and anything could happen at any given moment in time. So right there, you just say, okay, Let's get the likes up to the watchers. Thank you so much for everybody out there. Appreciate it more than you would ever know. All right. There's a decent chance based on the 4-year cycle that ETH bottomed on June like it did in 2022. Yeah, agreed. Just like Bitcoin. Yeah. So Ethereum looks bullish to me for a move to 2,300. And I wouldn't be surprised if it does it because it's above that 200 on the 21. And I sound like a broken record. He said how to read liquidity on Bookmap. You know, I take it day by day, number one. Like right now, look at all the liquidity that just got built up. Like more liquidity so more people just took shorts out, creating the ability for the big orders to go higher. So enough retail got scared, and for some reason, something made them add more to their shorts. They see more pain. I see the moving averages lining up, getting ready for liquidations tonight into tomorrow. Monday night's one of my favorite nights to trade long. It's already kind of setting up for a possible liquidation into Tuesday. Who knows? But that's, you know what I mean? So far, the liquidity is in our favor. Look how red it is above us there in that order book. You know, Bookmap Nice team came up to me and said, hey, we like the way you trade. We think you'd love this tool. Let me use it for free. I got accustomed to it, and now we have it underneath every video for sale. If you want to jump on it, I get a small commission if you want to do that. They do not sponsor the channel. So look, and again, we have one sponsorship here on the channel, and that's the awesome man saying, I'm Crypto Lifer. I'm just a talent. But there's this awesome CEO guy that runs the show. This guy is like the boss. This guy, Sam Price. And he sponsors the channel, man. And he runs CryptoLifer.com. And that guy is, wow. 64,900 for Bitcoin, folks. The pump is real. And the move is on. And now it's starting to show some gains back in the house here. 1,200 up in this one. And then our WEEX trades are back in the money. We should be seeing some gains here around the board. Yeah, there you go. Up 230 now, remember? And that should swing too, the risk on assets. I mean, the S&P should pump if Bitcoin pumps in, you would think. And look at it. I mean, 3-minute shoulder, head, right shoulder. Inverted head and shoulder to the up. Very simple. Buy the right shoulder. Stop loss above the 200. Buy the 21 above the 200. And that should you'd think we'd get a little rejection there. But I'll take it, man. Let's continue the pump, baby. Let's go. Nice little move back off the 200 moving average. And we told you how that 1 hour looked bullish too. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just goes on a massive pump. And I get to take gains here on the channel. Shout out to anyone longing with me on BTC. Long time short is still open on a long time at 85K. Wow. You're still open at 85? Yeah, see, it's people like you that are going to be able to get us to pump all the way back up there. No, I love you, Cherry City Bullies, but you're a great example of why we're going to be able to go all the way up, because there's going to be so many shorts to liquidate up there. You know what I mean? Yeah, CEO Sam Price says it all. Good looks and brains, man. Thank you. Wait, I thought the white bird, Snowy, ran the show. Oh, he did, but he passed. It is. We did lose Snowy I'd say about a year ago now. Snowy was a king pigeon. Beautiful bird. All right. No, the CEO never gives Sam a day off, Crypto Lifer a day off. I'm the lifer. I'm just the talent. Sam Price is this, like, man, he is a 7-day a week CEO. The guy is just, he doesn't stop. I begged him for days off. He says no. I begged him for time off the charts. He says no. He gave me a little bit of time this summer in July. He said, okay, it's July. I get it. But, man, the man is nonstop vicious. Right? My long is in the money. Didn't take long, my man. Didn't take long to get my long in the money. And there's my longs now up $300. RIP to Snowy, man. Yeah, for sure. And look at that market ripping and roaring. I like what I'm seeing here on Bookmap. It's showing good liquidity, good volume, and good volatility, baby. 1 minute massive flag. RIP Snowy. You see a massive flag of the 1 minute? I mean, I see this. I mean, you could say that was it. Yeah, this would be nice if it kind of, I'm looking for giant consolidation here. Come down, come up. Just keep holding key levels above 64,000. ETH up 0.5%. SOL up 8. Pepe up 1 point, or 100 Pepe, Doge, you know. And everything will follow Bitcoin when we get this move. I thought Crypto Wifer was the boss. Oh, you know she is. She is the head of the conglomerate that owns all the other conglomerate. You know what I mean? Yeah. You look at the labor laws in Florida for your CEO, you're funny. Short squeeze is real, dog. How many times have we called the short squeeze here on the channel? How many times have we seen the shorts get wrecked? I mean, countless times. Exactly. Yeah. Someone said, how do you find DEXI and WEEX? They don't come up when I search. Well, when you and what if you want to get into these coins, these what if coins and all this stuff, you got to buy this stuff on Uniswap. All right. So you would go to Uniswap, which I haven't been to in a long time. Uniswap.org. Okay. Connect your wallet. Hit the connect button. Select your token. And you can type in here, if. What I like to do, though, I don't go by that. Impossible if. See, what if? I think that would be it. What I like to do, though, is I go to Dex Screener and I go to what if myself and I copy that contract address. And I go to Uniswap. Funny, these people are like, it's not on Dex. A lot of this stuff hasn't made it. See, to make big money in crypto, the real money in crypto, is to get in before other people get in. To get in before other people get in, you got to buy on a decentralized exchange. Funny, I can't see my link. Where's my link? Where is my link, Dex? Hold on. What the heck was I doing? I guess I lost it. Oh, there it is. So I was in a separate window. So now you would go here and you would paste the contract address. What if? See? Okay, continue. You know what I mean? And then you could trade how many, you have 1 ETH for how many if you can get. 18, you know what I mean? 1.8, 1,845,820 ifs. So that's, that's it. And you would do a swap, a decentral, and then it would sit on your wallet, on your MetaMask wallet. Okay. That's up to you, though. All right. That's, but there's so much more going on out here that people don't realize. And you could do that on Uniswap. Jupe might have the ability to do that too as well. But that's on Solana. Like, it depends on the chain you're moving. A lot of stuff will become cross-chain, though, a lot. Big pump for Bitcoin in that 15-minute time frame. We were looking for that flag to pump on the 5-minute time frame all morning, actually. They did the inverted head and shoulder first, wicked everybody out before they ripped it back to the upside. I see it coming right back down, though. So even though we're in the money here, I'm looking for the bigger trade. I'm not going to be taking, I see us coming right back down. I just want to see sideways price action today. When I check back in later on the afternoon, right? OpenSea has listed it. You can swap directly on OpenSea. Actually, it makes it real easy. They got new trading coins and everything. They've got the Robinhood coins. Oh, that's awesome. If we be the first cultural meme to list on Robinhood chain, 1,000x potential. Possibly. If you're still in this market, you're already a winner. That's what I think. Yeah. Show us Jupe like you did Uniswap, please. I don't know if Jupe will act the same way, though. Yeah. It's the exact same thing. But Jupe would be for Solana memes. Yeah. Robinhood is on Arbitrum, right? So it's Ethereum Arbitrum, right? You start the first reality show of a crypto family college, Crypto Lifer, and Crypto Wifer goes long. You can show the lifestyle of a crypto millionaire. Many people would love that. Has anyone used Edge X? I've thought about doing that. I just don't want to reveal too much about my life. I don't want to put my family in jeopardy. I don't want to be like, security things. I don't want to show stuff that maybe, if we do it right and very well thought out, like we'll use the exterior of a house I don't live in to show the exterior. And then we'll shoot inside the home, but you'll never see the actual real outdoors. But if ever I'm like washing my car, doing something fun, so many times when I want to show you guys what I'm doing, but then I'm like, it reveals a little too much about my life. I got a little too, things went a little too well. And I don't want to be too, I don't like, if I did a reality TV show, you'd realize how good my life, back then. This guy lived a nice life, man. I feel like I get even more hate, You should start but I've thought about it many times. Thank you, Hank Solman. Appreciate that for saying that. No, I don't do personal space, man. I know, see? I'll do little bits here and there. You know what I mean? I do little clips on Instagram and out there, just, cooking steaks, doing my thing, stuff like that. But that's about it. Yeah. All those things can be put in AI and track. Yeah, the Kardashian show, but for crypto featuring Sam Pratt, you're funny. Do it like on a trip or something. Yeah. When you used to trade stocks, did you scan many stocks daily? I would look for speculative investments in the stock market that I want to hold for basically 2 to 4 years. If I can't hold it about 18 months, 18 to 36, that's what I start doing. Like this UEC, Uranium Energy Corp. It's on my radar, man. It's coming back down to support, right? And, uranium energy. What is it? What goes on with them? It's a more specific classification within a sector grouping companies. And, it's uranium. It's enriching uranium, which is one of the few people that can do this. I've been kind of tracking this stock for a while now. And once the data centers ramp up, they need more energy than we can make. Head and shoulder pattern that dumped to the downside may have a little more pullback. Let me look at it on the weekly. But once it touches or comes near the 200 moving average on the weekly, these are, some of the best places to buy any asset. And I've taught, you know what I mean? This is a simple, it's like investing 101. Buy things there. And again, Warren Buffett put this out recently, and you'll find this out if you just learn your lesson. But like if you bought it here and held for a while, boom. You bought it here and held for a while, boom. It's coming down to that key area yet again. And it's uranium enrichment. People already speculated on it. Was $1 already and went all the way to $20. It did a 20x since 2020. But since then, it's lost half its valuation back to $9. And if we can get it somewhere at $6, $7, and then run that puppy back up to 24 and get a nice 4x on it, by like November of 2027, that's definitely doable. So this is something I'm speculating on in the regular traditional market based on, energy, and I have a narrative behind it. And no one told me the narrative. I didn't read anybody's story. I've been just sitting with my mind and my thoughts alone, staring in space and thinking about, well, data centers is big. We're going to need money, right? It takes out all the gains from before, rips back, I see all that stuff. But we're gonna need data centers that can provide so much more energy than we can provide right now, than we have. We're gonna have to be able to pump out energy at the speed of light, and we just don't have that capability with oil and solar panels right now. We're gonna have to really push that with the data centers. So, and when I look back on this idea, I'm like, man, uranium. What is it? Leacorn Mining? Or, Wow, look at this LEC. Lincoln Electric Holdings? Gone. Bear div now, though. Starting to get a little, That's extended. How about that SanDisk? What a move that thing was on. My goodness. It's got to pull back. Here we have it back at that 618 Fibonacci retracement. You can't chase the tops. That was out of control. That move from 675. April 6. Wow. Unbelievable. I remember looking at it just went out right there, April 26. Man, what a top, man. I was in Vegas. My foot was hurting. I had to walk so long. And there was these long hallways. I was all alone. My foot was so swollen. And I was thinking to myself, my wife doesn't know how much pain I'm in. I'm like, I don't want to tell anybody. I was like, but this hallway looks like it never ends. And I would look down and see where my room was and be like, damn, man. But my mind wanted to see so much and talk to so many people and do so much that it was like, I don't care how your foot hurt. You gotta. And I pushed my foot through for a couple weeks there, Miami and Las Vegas. I pushed my foot through hell. It was crazy. Using all the Clearwater in fire every day. South Florida never had this many fires back to back. Damn, man. Fires in South Florida now? What's going on? So, yeah, the weekly coming back down to the 618 fib, and it might get a wick down to the 786. The key is the DCA. I know no one wants to hear that, but that's the only way you really battle these markets. 2 to 3 year plan with a DCA. That's how I tackle. Every once in a while, it turns into a great swing trade when we get a just enormous move in a small period of time, where I feel like I got to take profits. And that's why I'm a swing trader at heart. You know, I don't like to commit to almost anything too long. Only 4 or 5 assets do I commit long term. And that's real estate cash flow. You know, if it gives cash flow and I can park my money in there and I know 10 years from now I'm going to have at least my money and a half back. Like if I could put $2 million down in something that makes me $100,000 a year, right? That's great. That's 5% a year. You know what I'm saying? And there you go. No stress. Make me 100 racks a year. Help me enjoy it too. Like that's why I love my Airbnb. I enjoy it for about 2 months a year. So I'm physically there. I get to be there. And that would cost 30 to 40 grand a month. I mean, a week, literally, in Martha's Vineyard. So I get 200 grand in use case out of it almost, 160 grand in use case. I still get to rent it out for a month. It still plays out. Did you sell Bitcoin when the monthly was far for the 21? No, I did not. I don't sell Bitcoin. Taxable event on a long-term asset? No need right now. Not doing that. Yeah. I'm looking at all the kind of the long-term effects of it. I want to borrow against it at the right period in time in my life. You know what I mean? That's the whole point, is to borrow against it at the right period of time. All right. Let's kind of deep dive something that I've been wanting to kind of talk about for a while here that we don't bring up all the time. And that's ETHBTC. All right. And I bring this up a lot, and that's even almost SOLBTC. We're going to look at a bunch of BTC pairs here. And we're going to look if there's anything that's kind of looks like it's going to beat up on Bitcoin. Right now, I got this beautiful double bottom on Ethereum. Suggests that's the low. It's got a higher low now in this really nice kind of falling wedge flag. What that tells me is Bitcoin's about to go in a pump. And it's going to take Ethereum with it. And when Ethereum goes up, it goes from 18 to 23. And it makes a 25% move when Bitcoin only makes a 10 or 15% move. So what does that equate to? That equates to Ethereum beating up on Bitcoin. If you put a whole Bitcoin in here into this trade and you held it for about a month, maybe even 2-3 months, it's telling you, hey, you could double your Bitcoin. You could end up with 2 Bitcoins. So 1 Bitcoin turns into 2 Bitcoin on an ETHBTC trade. You see this? So by using Ethereum, you could make more Bitcoin. ETH is looking very, very bullish against Bitcoin. Looking speculatively, like it's, I like, and it had this big run up. That's what you want. Then you want it to come settle. You want to pull your Fibonacci and look for the 786 retracement, which we did get. And so very healthy pullback, looking interesting. Bit of a cup and handle there for Ethereum BTC. Then after you kind of look at that, you want to take a look at SOLBTC. You just want to keep expanding this idea and see what it's saying. Again, you're getting a very similar look, right? You're getting this higher low on the daily. Possible breakout. Look at your 4-hour. Look at your 1 hour. Are you back above the 200? You're flirting with these ideas. You get back above that 1 hour 200. And what this means is that Bitcoin's going to pump. You see, if you look at a bunch of BTC pairs and they all look good, Sol's going to dump if Bitcoin dumps. If Bitcoin pumps, Sol's going to pump. If Bitcoin pumps and Sol pumps, Sol's going to beat up on the Bitcoin pair. If Bitcoin dumps and Sol dumps, Sol's going to lose more percentage-wise than Bitcoin, and Sol's going to lose to the BTC pair. And the switch can be flipped so fast. All right. Modular nuclear plants. I'm nuclear QE engineer and looking forward to the massive business. I love to hear it, man. Yeah, modular nuclear. Yeah, they're going to be like far more. Yeah. You're saying they're going to be more portable. A lot of people think what if is the bigger opportunity on Robinhood Chain. I'm okay with it. I'm just watching and observing. It may do some damage. It looks like it's going to head all the way up to 3 cents. It's got the $1 million market cap. To me, that's the safe place to start getting in. Here we were speculative. Now it's came down, it retraced. It even hit a 786 Fibonacci. See, from this impulse, it came up, came back down, bounced. It's amazing how the fibs work here, and they play out time and time again. So now you also want to look at BNB BTC. You just kind of want to go through the gambit here and start looking at the health of these altcoins against Bitcoin. This will look on the weekly, see if there's anything starting to turn. And if you look, I mean, we're making higher lows. So you kind of have to go big time frame. But we are getting tighter and tighter. And it's suggesting something's going on here. Now, high risk to get in now, but if it breaks out above 0.1 and it retests, I mean, that's telling me that we're likely going to go on this bigger run and head to that target at 0.024. Right, what 0.04747. And that's another coin that looks promising against Bitcoin. Right? Then you look at some more speculative asset, like I like to look at DOGEBTC. Something we haven't really talked about in a long time, right? That is in the dumps. Doesn't look, that's getting sold off. People don't really talk about. It isn't the lowest it's ever been, though. You'd have to say, well, isn't this where eventually it comes out of the hole? You think if Sol came out, all this other stuff, but funny, it's so old. Can its like funny memeness carry it again this next cycle? I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. Funny, it hasn't pumped really since March of 2021. Little bit pumps there. It's crazy to see. Like we really never, every coin came back each cycle, but this no. When Bitcoin hit an all-time high, Doge never did. It's a very different. And why? Trump coin took off. People sold all their Doge for Trump coin, man. Let's take a look at Trump coin. It's recently had a little bit of a move. If you look at it on the weekly, it's the lowest it's ever been. 158. Even the daily looks a trifling unnecessary. So I guess that was its little pump recently. 152 up to 170. Now it's in this higher low. I wouldn't trade it. I'm just looking at what was hot back then and kind of what we're looking at now. And it's funny, that took all the liquidity out of all the other altcoins. Went right into their pocket. It's so crazy, man. Our beautiful little industry was definitely preyed upon, man. By everybody, not, any business person. I'm not blaming Trump or anyone. I'm just, man, we got, shout out to Trump. He did what he saw an opportunity in crypto. As crazy as that is. So some people, very dicey. I know a lot of my viewers probably don't like me saying that. A lot of viewers might like me saying that. And it's back and forth. Very polarizing. Very polar. Let's take a look at the fan funding and see what's happening here for the day. So we have Aaron, 916K. Thanks for paving the way, Sam. I've been laid off twice this past year. Been a rough road. But I'm very fortunate to have found you. Before that, I know how you feel, man. Losing the use of my Achilles tendon. My left leg falling off. Not falling off, but, not being able to use my left leg. And just being in physical, emotional, and mental isolation. Like I told you, not driving my car for months. I got a fish tank to look at the fishies. You know what I mean? They got me through my fishies. What if every coin talking about, what do we see it going? Cheers. Thank you. Like, sub, and join the 99. No days off. Reliable J, God bless you. Member for 24 months. Reliable J, I love you, man. Thank you. And we looked at what if. Coin twice. Grateful. Thank you. And shout out to all the super chats. Thank you for giving. iFree, Tipper John Yoon, Chirp, Reliable J, and everybody here. Aaron. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Top fans right there. Tom and Todd, Aris Fox, Reliable J, Ravesong Records, Magan Sharma, iFree, and Recon John Crypto, Dutang Dumpster Diving, Master Assassin, and BGSP19. The top 3 runners up from the top 10. Appreciate you guys. Amazing stream. Good energy, good vibes. Thank you for showing up. Exactly. Turn is still, jump is still, man, oh, whoa. Shouting out to John, oh, whoa. I didn't buy Fishy. You guys are funny. Everyone has this as an idea about that. Optimus looks like it might make some type of move here above the 200 getting tight. If Grok continues to go, there's a chance that Optimus does also get a bit of a mover. Let's take a look at the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency. Want to break that down and kind of show you what we're looking at there. We haven't looked at that on the live stream in a bit. And it's really just going to follow Bitcoin. Whatever Bitcoin does, I mean, the dominance is big enough, but... So we're still inside this beautiful uptrend. Number one. Like, that hasn't changed. And we're in the same kind of falling wedge that we were in before on the wedge. You know what I mean? I just see us bouncing. The only crazy thing is we get this move up, right? The bigger picture is never what we fully thought it would have been. That's what I'm learning now. You know what I mean? Like, say, look, if we get this type of move, which it looks like we will, we're going to get the inverted head and shoulder, come out of this. Well, it may take some time. It may be May till we really get the bigger move. But then we have 1 year till the halving. You see what I'm saying? My community, love you, lifer. God bless you, man. You too, man. All right, we got to hook it up. We got to set it up. In 11 days, I get it back home to my regular studio when I can really focus. But even then, I'll look at what you're doing. Now, God bless you, Archie, man. Thank you for diving, man. Our styles really complement each other. I watched your show a lot last year. You'd put out a meme. I'd put out my TA on it, and I'd be able to kind of see where it was going. I'd be pretty dang accurate when it came to it. And so, and sometimes I'd find something, and I'd just see if you were finding it too. And if you did, I'd be like, okay. You know, because I know this is what you did. And I'm a pretty good diver, but I'm like a TA diver and but people don't realize, some people, because there's a lot of guys that just do TA, but they don't dumpster dive. And I shouldn't say dumpster dive, but you know what I mean? I'll go into anything. Like, I want to know it all. I want to degen it. I want to find out 1 million market cap, 10 billion market cap, you name it. Look at this beautiful trajectory for Bitcoin. And look, what that means to me is like you end up making this beautiful ascending triangle. The more I see price action, the more it just keeps doing the same thing. And then maybe that can go on a nice little run up. $8 trillion on the market cap, right? But what goes up must come down. Like, then you pull a Fibonacci from this retracement. And the scary thing is that you have a nasty bear market again in 2030, 2031, and then like have to come out to 2032 into the next halving. As we rip again, it's just, the cycle continues, right? And we just keep hitting this trend line. And it's funny, look what we can do. We can do a bunch of fun stuff. We can go to bars pattern here, grab this one. Show you like the pullback, right? Then grab it again. And I've never done this on this channel before, right? Like, but you just start building a real picture for like where, this market cap can go. And it pulls back again. 618 Fibonacci. And if you can get the pump again, it's like crazy. And then you extend the trend line. And is this what happens to real money? When you continue to print money to zero. Right? I keep seeing SMR, man. Thank you. I keep seeing SMR. So you're onto something with SMR, because that's been on my little research panel the last few weeks. I keep seeing SMR. Yeah. Look, 886, this thing could bounce again and go further to the upside, right? 1142. 2042, we're at 11 trillion. You think it takes that long for us to go from 2 to 5x? Wish I could see the market cap of gold. I bet I could find it, right? But even if you just look at gold, like 08 all the way to 2011, it just goes on it just from 06. Are you enjoying the stream? We will top out this coming cycle after 3 years. I don't know what that means, but yeah. Anyway, just an interesting idea here of where we could be going for Bitcoin. You see it on our way up and how long it could really take. And so that's at 2 trillion right now where we're at. Bitcoin sitting at 60,000. So 4x, we're at like a $250,000, $300,000 BTC. You know what I'm saying? Huge pump for Bitcoin, folks. 65,280. And it solidifies our place in the crowd here as winners. We are winning in our trade. Sammy is up 500 on his day trades. I go to 500 to $3,000 a day. Starting to go nicely here to the upside. Huge pump for Bitcoin. And I like what we're seeing here for BTC. Massive rip on the 1 hour time frame off of that 200 moving average. And massive short squeeze on these shorts. We told you there was liquidity up there. It was red at 65.5. We eventually came into it. Looks like we took a lick right in there. We're ripping right now. We're at the top of it right now. Still kind of digging into liquidity. Finding out how many shorts are deciding to go against the grain there. Nice little double top. Head and shoulder pattern. I don't know. And I tell you what, man, your AI bot will find these and short these. It'll get confused just like people do, man. Trust me, man. Just because you got some AI thing running doesn't mean it's going to be right every time. Sometimes you would have been just better off trading it yourself. Just like I am, manually getting it in. Making gains. Up $571 right now. Right? Shorts on fire, baby. The track makes me feel like I could win an F1 race. Shout out to Stack McChange in the house. Shout out to everybody here who's making gains with the lifer. I stayed long. I stuck to the longs. I showed you the long. And we got the pump to the upside here on the channel on this live trade here on WEEX. Shout out to anyone that's trading with me on WEEX. I appreciate that. Hit the link to jump on in and trade today. Get the perks of being a lifer underneath my link. And make, you know what I mean? You don't have to stress. Something ever happens, we can call it out for you. And usually nothing does. But if ever did, I'd say, hey, that's my trader. That's my user ID. That's my buddy. You treat him with golden gloves, baby, because those are my peoples. Those are my lifers. So pay the trader, baby. Pay the trader. How many people are going to pay that trader? I'm in a bigger trade here on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. I'm going for some bigger gains up there to 68,000. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit it. Live Series, you're about to trade, and how does it compare to your trades? Sometimes it does better, sometimes it does worse. Sometimes I wish it knew what I knew, but then again, it can trade while I'm asleep. It all depends, you know? Take your 500 and run to the downside. Yikes. I mean, that's four turkey right there. Huge pump on the 5-minute time frame, very far away from the 21. Now we got to stay. Now I want to see if we can come back to the 21 above 64.9, above 65,000. So why not just let this go on and see where it goes today? I'm going to let this thing cook. Close 50%, stop loss and profit, let it ride. I like what you're doing there, man. You're set, you're set, you're set. This one, I may move the stop. Let's see. I don't know which one is which. It's the hard part. I know what to do. X them both out. I know what to do. So that one's back at break-evens. So I can't lose money there. And then the smaller trade, we just kind of have, you know, no real stress there. And there we have it, man. We can't lose any big money today. I like it. We're out of risk, really, for the day and showing some gains. Showing some gains, baby, gains. It's about going through it every single day, one day at a time. All right? I have a long on hype. Let's go. Let's take a look at hype. Another one that could beat up against Bitcoin. Another coin that has enough liquidity and enough people paying attention. Last time I looked at hype, I said I long it if it can stay inside. I don't want to see it fall back down. Though, look out! I said watch out. It might stop hunt. So lately they've been dumping down the stop line. There it goes. Make a nice flag, keep a nice trend, and then dip on the trend. It's like the old story now. I see it way too much on altcoins. And until we get enough liquidity back, it's going to happen more and more, you know. That looks interesting, though. I wouldn't be surprised if we get the bounce just back in there and stay tight. Look, and then if Bitcoin goes on a rally, this gets to 100. You know, Bitcoin rips back to 68, 70,000, and then looks promising to 80K. This goes to 100 bucks. And it does it pretty nicely. And it's been consolidating yet again. Last time it consolidated, we called that pump right there for you. It was beautiful. A lot of the market took those calls, so 106 bucks for Hyperliquid. And remember, this is the channel. We start showing you this stuff way before it happens. Like everyone else will start showing you the setup like a week from now. And remember, we've been already kind of paying it. I'm not saying buy right now. It's an aggressive buy if you buy right now. A very aggressive buy if you buy right now. 100%. But it doesn't mean there's no opportunity. 65,300 for Bitcoin. Shout out to everybody that took the long with the lifer. Let's go. Banging on them on a Monday, baby. On a Monday. They're not letting, you know what I mean? Nothing. No, you know, we got this, baby, on a Monday. Look at these green candles pumping on WEEX. You know what I love about green candles? They're live on WEEX right here. Look at that. Green candles, baby. And look what you could do on WEEX. You can have your TradingView widget super large. You can even use indicators that you have to pay for on TradingView, but you have them here on WEEX for free, like the VR, VP, and more. Like if I want to add the VP VR, that's what you just have to call it here. There it is. Then I go here and I'm going to type in 240. Just put a 0 there. And there it is. I mean, that indicator's right there for you. Look at Bitcoin, just absolutely ripping strong, folks. 65.4. Getting green, baby. Lit the pump to the upside for BTC. Let's go, baby. Let's go. 630 of the trades. I like that pump. That is starting to get realistically large. Look at the size of those candles, baby. And we were telling you, 21 above the 200. Don't fail me now, baby. Don't fail me now. Nice pump for Bitcoin. Good volume coming in strong, too, as well, on that buy side. We saw Big Red here telling us that we were going up. Now they're saying 65.8. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes in at 66.5. It gets redder and redder. Look at this, all the way up to my target, up to 68,000. We've got liquidity. Yeah, we got liquidity down there, too, as well. I get it. There's a lot of people that have went long. Dang, and that 50,000 red. But it doesn't mean we're going to go there. All right? Many times I've seen red. That's what someone asked earlier today. We don't have to go to every red place. One step at a time. I've been your proud student for over a year now, and I think what I learned today has paid off well in the last 2 hours. Cup and handle and 786 for Trace. They continue the flag on the 1 minute. Posted it in the gains. My travel guy, I love it, man. You're putting together what we have a way to teach you how to trade. Like a system that we want you all to follow. People kind of get away from the system, but we want to bring you in. We want you to see what's happening. You said you posted it in the gains section. Let me find you here. Gains on gains. Lifer gains. Where are those? Where are the lifer gains? There they are. Just sold Sam's 15-minute call from his update at 3:15 East. Took 15. Took 6 hours. Patience is key. Look at that money right there. I love that. I haven't seen that one. Another one on the continuation flag. Yep. Took this one, got out the pump for some gains. Crypto Aussie finding his strength, finding his way. I love it. Look at guys finding their head and shoulders. Bear flags, 21 below the 200. People learning what I teach, man. I love it. Getting paid for being a lifer for more than a year. It's a blessing. Dude, you put in the work. You don't just get paid overnight, but you put in the work. I love it, bro. You're doing great. You're doing really, really well. Thank you. Every time I see a student doing their thing, I get super excited. 65.5 for Bitcoin. They're not stopping this pump, folks. We're getting the move, man. And we were right on with the call to the upside. You can't beat it. 65,590. Big green candles for Bitcoin here. Pumping to the upside. The rest of the world is asleep. We should have 2,000 people here on the long making gains on the summertime. I'm in the summertime making gains from my house in my... Wait. My pants, baby. I got pants on. Hey, this guy actually has pants on. I don't do the Kevin O'Leary with polka dot underwear. I actually wear pants during the live. Amazing, I know. And again, put a 333 if you made gains with the lifer here on the live stream. I'm up 11K using only $1,300. My man made banging gains today. Dude, that's huge. Take that money and run. Dang. Why lifer do not trade? I've been trading. What do you mean? I'm in a trade right now. The heck are you talking about? Why lifer? Why do these people talk all sorts of nonsense that isn't true? I'm in 2 trades right now. 1.5. I'm up about $700 in trades. I put my stop loss out of risk as well. At work, sweating away, working hard for my freedom. I love it, man. How many people want to get out? Someone said something wrong with the green screen pants. Those aren't real. I know, right? Fake pants. I was like, what's wrong with the green screen? I thought there was something wrong with the... green screen looks good to me. Everything seems solid. We're still getting some of that pixelation shit again. I'll have to change the bit rate down just a little more. I think I'm too high. Why do we not see open trades? There's trades right here. What the heck are you talking about? Oh, because I opened these trades. Yeah, I already opened these trades with the trading group. Trades have been open, and I've gone live all weekend long explaining this. I went live on Saturday morning, Saturday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. I showed everything I'm doing that's happening today. Join the Discord, watch my trading group, and stop asking questions and start paying attention. Lifer isn't telling me, huh? Lifer tells the truth. The trades are there and not lied about to make bigger this man. I know, right? In my car, up 370% gains. My man, Rave Song Records, doing it the Lifer way. Exactly. 55K soon. I made $1 million trade. I made a bunch of $300,000 trades, $400,000 trades, $250,000 trades, you know, $500,000 trades. I don't need to impress you, man. I'm not here to impress anybody. Nice pump for Bitcoin. Shout out to my baby. Give me a hug, you sweet little pea. All right. Well, we're almost out of here, so you're in good shape. How's your morning going? Yeah? What's your favorite thing about Daddy? That's it? Nothing? You don't know? We hang out all the time. We play puzzle. We go swimming. When I swing you? Okay. Well, you're lucky you have a nice big swing in the backyard, right? That's nice. Anyway, shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in and making gains. Finally, in 3 years, saw my message. You're funny. Passion brains. Hey. I really taught me, Sammy, help me quit my habits and find gratitude in life. You taught me how to turn 2K into 38K in less than a few months. Thank you. Hey, man, God bless you, bro. This is a really good one, Sean. Pop that one out. Send that to Twitter, bro. Turn that into one of those, like, cool readables that we do. That is, like, spot on, man. Never seen something so amazing, so thank you. It's crazy not seeing you take your profits on this pump. Discipline. Yeah, no, I'm set for the 4 hour, though. You know what I mean? Yeah, I usually take profits on these pumps, but I'm in a bigger trade here. Like, I'm looking for the 4 hour to really, you know what I mean? This is, look at the size of that candle on the 1 hour time frame. That's a bullish engulfer. That's sending us higher. See if there's a wick. I'd like to see if there's a wick there. Yeah, there's a little bit of a wick there. Not, you know. This move to me is just getting started. I'm seeing for us to get extended up to 68,000. Then I'd like to take some profits. You know. You're on my language, Tuttery, today. I don't know what that means. Papa just made 450 just watching the Lifer Live. My man. People make gains. I'm telling you, this channel, A lot of other channels give you information. You know, they want your attention so they can grow their channel. And they talk about news. They have some fun. And I get it. Entertainment is part of the show. I like to entertain. But I want to make sure that you're learning how to actually trade here and you're seeing real gains get made. And you yourself, look, you're watching people in the chat tell you that they made gains during the stream. This is an actionable stream where people actually learn education and use the education to make money. I haven't seen it. This is a stream where I see more people say they made gains inside the comment section than any other live stream I've seen in a long time. I'm just being honest, right? Look, this guy said he made 32 grand. Another person just said he turned 4 grand into 12. Got in late, but did a quick 7-minute scalp and banked 800. Done for the day. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. Like, been around the channel since 2020. Learned a lot. Still trying to translate it into real money. See the chart, all the confluence, but can't seem to catch it. I used to do that all the time. It took me years. You'll get there. If you desire it more than anything else in the world, it'll be what you get. I'm Papa. Just made 450 watching the lifer. See? Trolls be trolling. I don't care about trolls. They don't mean, hey, man, let a troll make gains with me too. If you hate on me, you could still take the trade. The numbers don't lie. You can hate on me. You can love me. The numbers don't lie. In and out, no matter what. You're so cute, baby. She's playing Operation. And she hit the sides. She looked at me funny, man. I love these kids, bro. Everybody, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being absolutely amazing and kicking it with the lifer. I'll continue to do what I do. I see a continuation. I would flag out the 15-minute, the 5-minute time frame. Look for the 15-minute to come back to the 21-day moving average above the 200. Okay, this is what we're looking for. I'm going to post this to the trading group. I know you can't see it right now. Go to cryptolifer.com if you want to know how to enter a trade later on today. We're going to be looking for something like this. And I know you can't see it, but go to cryptolifer.com and you'll be able to join the Discord and see exactly what I just said to the trading group. I'm like, this is what we're looking for. This is what I want. This is what it's, if we get this. And I do this all the time. I give you really good entries, good exits. I say get in, get out. They're not signals, but a lot of times I can tell you exactly when to get into a trade. And you get in on the 21, you get out away from the 21. Simple as simple does here for BTC. As I leave you, I'm up about $700 in the trade, 561.40. The S&P still down to, we'll see where that goes. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for being absolutely amazing and awesome. And I, myself, am going to jump on out of here, hang out with my kids for a little while, have a good summer day. Be back later on, and I'll be in the Discord throughout the day. Go to cryptolifer.com to find out more. Go to the WEEX link if you want to join. This Bitcoin pump looks like it ain't over. We might continue to rip these shorts a new one, folks. I'm excited that I caught these longs. Everyone, I love you. I appreciate it. And I'm out of here. Stay blessed. Stay amazing. You know what the secret to success is, right? It's getting started.